It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. Ever feel like everything in the world is turning against you? Like there's no sign of hope in the near future. Everything around you seems dark and bitter. You're gasping for air, hoping that a single shed of light can fall upon you. During times like these, it may seem that there is no hope, but let me be the one to tell you that there is light at the end of the dark tunnel. This is my dark road home. Many years ago, I suffered through one of the most devastating events of my life. I had just turned 18 years old. I was enrolled in community college, and I was ready to take on the world with ambition, dreams, and passion. But those dreams came to a stop when I was left for dead in a dark, lonely road. Flashback a few hours before. It was July 4th, around 11:30 p.m. We were celebrating Independence Day when I received a phone call from a girl that I was getting to know. Her and I hung out a few times, and I was really beginning to like her. Little did I know that she came with her own set of personal problems. I answered the phone. Hello? I heard subtle sobbing from the other side. Hello, I repeated. I need to talk to you, she replied in a whisper. Concerned, I immediately responded. About what? Everything okay? No, she replied. Can we talk in person? Of course, I replied. By this time, I was really concerned about her. I had been drinking in celebration, so it was determined that she would pick me up from the party. As I waited, all I can think about is, what could have happened that she's calling me crying? The sound of music playing at the party was only a distant, subtle echo in my head that was fogged by concern. Finally, after an hour, she called to instruct me that she was waiting out front. As I took a seat in her car, I quickly noticed the tears in her eyes. What's wrong? I asked. Let's take a drive, she responded. For a moment, I sat in the car, focused on the streetlights as we passed them by, just trying to figure out what words to say. Where are we going? I finally asked, breaking the silence. She turned to me, and that's when I noticed that she had a bruised black eye. Whoa, what happened? I said. She explained to me that her ex-boyfriend had found out about us, and he showed up to her house, furious. Just then we pulled into a dark alley. We're here, she explained. Where's here? I replied, confused. This is my uncle and aunt's house. Come on, let's talk. She exited the car. Hesitant, I followed. There was an old wooden gate that was the entrance to a backyard. I heard the creaking sound of that old wooden fence as she struggled to open it. She turned to look at me. Come inside, she instructed. I slowly walked towards her as we continued to walk towards the house through the backyard. I'm really sorry about what happened to you, I said, realizing then that she was nowhere around me. At that exact moment, I knew that something wasn't right. And that's when I heard it. The words that would haunt me for a very long time after that. It was a moment that would change my life forever. The sound of an angry voice yelling obscenities at me still haunt my nightmares until this day. I quickly turned, and that's when I saw it. A baseball bat being swung with full force straight to my face. Everything went silent, except for that small ringing in my ear. I can hear the muffled screams. Stop! You're killing him! And I remember thinking, why is this happening to me right now? I slowly began to rise up from the floor. I felt I needed to try to get away. Suddenly, another hit straight to my spine. It sent me shooting back down to the floor. I tried to rise once more, and that's when it happened. One more hit straight to the head. I knocked out. Black. Silent. Until this day, I'm not sure how long I was knocked out for. But when I woke up, I had been dragged to a dark alley. The scars on my hands are evidence that I was dragged by my feet as my lifeless hands burned along the pavement. Finally, I was able to stagger up on my feet. I was alone, and all I could think to myself was that I needed to get home. So I just started walking. I walked down the dark, lonely road. It seemed that there was no other sign of life anywhere. I remember I kept wiping my face because I felt something hitting my cheek. Later, I found out that it was the skin from above my eye that was hanging down and would hit my cheek with every step I would take. I was a bloody mess, but all I could think about was getting home. Then far in the distance of this dark, lonely road, I began to see some headlights. Everything began to get hazy, then foggy, then dark. I passed out on that dark, lonely road. A friend of mine had found me and rushed me to the hospital. My road to recovery was long. I ended up with over 20 staples and stitches on my face and head. My face was so swollen that I was unrecognizable. I couldn't really speak and my sight was blurry. The hardest part was the year that followed. I couldn't sleep. I lost a ton of weight. I couldn't eat because I would gag on my food. Even though I knew that the person who did this to me was behind bars, I still feared for my life. I wasn't the same joyous person that everyone knew. Most of my days would be spent inside my room because that's where I felt the safest. I thought that my life was over and there was no reason to live anymore. Until one day, I realized that there was someone else in my life that was suffering more than I was. It was my mom. You see, she was the warrior that would attend every court hearing that took place involving my case. In every court appearance, she would have to face the person who scarred me for life. I found out that she was suffering right along with me. She couldn't eat, she couldn't sleep, and she also lost a lot of weight. At that moment, I realized that I had to be strong, not only for myself, but for my mom who was suffering right along with me. I started to turn my life around. I made a decision that I was not going to let this horrific incident get in the way of my life. It was not going to tear my family apart. So when I read the quote, "It is during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light," it reminded me of what I had been through in my life. I had to see the light, and the light in my life was my mom. I got myself out of a dark place for her. I did everything I could to bring my mom back to the light. I needed to show her that I was strong and that she could be too. I found my motivation through her. I found my strength through her. I wanted to be better for her. Since then, I've been able to get my family back again. I've been able to achieve great things in my life, and I don't take anything for granted. I keep pushing and I keep fighting. I keep achieving and I keep loving to the fullest that I can ever love. So, if you're feeling like you're stuck in a dark place and you can't see the light, it's because sometimes you have to see the light through those that love you. Your family, your friends, your kids. Love is everywhere. And love equals light. Don't give up. Fight. It's time for you to take your dark road back home. Find the light.